Hello, and welcome to Two Front War, a bi-weekly podcast that covers the Yankees and Giants 2024 season. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Liam. I'm here. I'm eating a chicken sandwich.
Yay.
Yay.
Liam, how's your week? 2 weeks.
Good. I'm back home from college. So baseball's has been in my peripherals, but once I got on the plane, it was like what mainly got me through most of my stay here so far. I'm going to a game tomorrow.
Nice.
I'm gonna see the Yankees open up against the Houston Astros. I think Verlander's going to be on the mound, which will be exciting to see. But very interesting couple of weeks.
They should be easy pickings.
They have not been very good as of late. This is true.
But I don't know. That kind of scares me. Whenever you like the Giants will be playing the Rockies soon, a part of me is just like, oh boy, it's a mid off. Is this like the Giants regain confidence, or is this the turning point for the Rockies where they just all of a sudden pull a Twins and just like, we're going to win 12 games now?
Yeah.
12 straight games. All right. Well, how about you go ahead and get us started, Liam?
Jumping right into it this week. To give everyone an idea of where the Yankees are at, 23-13.
That must be nice.
Pretty good record. But I think the losses these past 2 weeks have been very telling of when it comes to like team identity and how this team plays specifically, but we'll get into that throughout. Speaking of easy series, easy teams, the A's, the technically still Oakland A's, but next year it's going to be interesting to see just the A's, just the Athletics.
Just the Athletics, yeah.
Just the Athletics. No team, the nomads of Major League Baseball versus my New York Yankees. The opening of the film Moneyball starts with comparing the payroll of the New York Yankees and the Oakland Athletics. Yankees typically the highest spenders with budgets of multi-millions compared to the hundreds of millions compared to the Oakland Athletics with their measly like $30 million payroll that hasn't really bumped up in the years since either. But even with this pay cut and their notoriously bad previous season, the Yankees still split this series 2-2 with the Oakland A's.
Ew.
Ugly.
Yeah, that's rough. Should have been at least 3.
Yeah, at least 3. You'd hope. I predicted a sweep. In fact, over four games.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think anyone would have called you crazy.
No,
but also the A's. I don't know if you saw the stuff online, but like they're doing a real life major league.
That meaning?
No, it's like that movie with Charlie Sheen about the Cleveland Indians, where like the guy wants to make them try to get the team to move.
Of course.
Well, John Fisher wants the team to move, and the A's are like currently just killing it. They're I think 2.5 games behind first place in their division. And they have like one of the better closers in the league.
There are 17-18 right now. One game below 500, third in their division. That'd be a tough division to even get a wild card spot in when you have the Rangers probably sitting at the top, and then the Mariners, who are always I'm gonna get your team.
Yeah.
So we'll see how keep a tab on that narrative, but. Interesting, very interesting thing to think about.
Kind of like low key rooting for the A's.
I would. I won't be buying any merch I'd buy from them. I'd buy used off of like Poshmark or something. Like I was looking at jerseys there before they inevitably go and they change their color scheme whenever they move to Las Vegas.
Oh, you think they're going to do that? Are they going to do that?
I think they're going to do that. I think it'll just be like ditching one color for like a white all the time or a black all the time.
They're going to be black and gold, just like the Knights.
Yeah, I think yellow will be the first color to get kicked. I think they'll keep the green. And
that sucks. I like their yellow jerseys.
I love their yellow jerseys.
It looks better than the Boston City Connects.
Yeah, they're good. They're good versions of those. But interesting to think about them all the time. Probably one of the more historic franchises out there, believe it or not. Like up there with like the Yankees at one point when it came to like reverence, and then just plummeting when it came to like the 90s and onward. But to get into the series, to get into the highlights real quick, not many. I'm very dour when it comes to these couple of games. To give someone his flowers, Ian Hamilton had a flawless first inning. Quick in, quick out in game 3. Love
Mm.
to see it. If I were to give my MVP award out early, I'm gonna have to go with Carlos Rodon, who didn't allow a single run and only allowed one hit with 2 walks and 4 strikeouts in 7 innings.
Okay, my sweet prince.
Your sweet prince, your white whale, your third thing.
The Sally to my Harry.
To get into the lowlights, the first lowlight I have down is splitting a series with the Oakland A's. I think that speaks for itself.
Yep.
Boone getting ejected. This
Oh yeah.
this was big. This was big news. Everyone was talking about this. Maybe I don't know if it was. I'm pretty sure it was like Aaron Boone mouthing off because he didn't like some calls enough. But once the umpire got
It was
on
the
him,
first inning.
yeah, first inning, he's famous for that. Once he knows like the umpire is bad, he lets him know like immediately. That's how he got like one of his first ejections, and I loved like his first ejection because Gardner was not having it. He was
Mhm.
obviously frustrated, and he wanted to show his guys that he was on his side, and he got thrown out. And I think that's during that ejection is where the term uh, "savages" when it came to being referred to the Yankees being fucking savages in the box.
Okay.
That's where that came from. Nothing like this here because Aaron Boone wasn't thrown out for what he said after being warned. A fan who was right behind the dugout yelled at the home plate umpire in his stead, and the home plate umpire attributed that to Aaron Boone,
Yeah.
and Aaron Boone got thrown out.
Aaron Booth was looking at his hand,
He was looking at his hand. He was looking at
his
his
nails.
fingernails that were probably covered in like dirt and sesame seeds, but he got thrown out. Uh, his umpteenth of his career,
which is
of his managerial
what
career.
was so great about that was just like he's confused, and then just how like the anger builds, like
I
throughout
didn't say
throughout his
anything.
interaction with the up, where like he's like, "Yo, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything." And he's like, "Yo, I was up there as a one of the fans," and then the ump is just like, "I don't care who's at it," and then Boone goes to walk away, and then he's like, "Wait, what?" He's like it just kind of like came to him in waves, like the whole situation of
Yeah,
like what is happening, and then
the
like
at the end, the umpire realized he did something wrong,
yeah,
and he was trying to communicate with that to Boone, and he's like, Boone isn't having that at all either. He's just like, no, it's your fault.
yeah,
Like
because you can't take that back.
you can't take it back, which I think is a weird thing. I feel like
No, I think I kind of get it.
in ejecting someone and then not being able to go
Well,
back
okay,
and
not no, not that, but like,
uh,
but like there are certain things in the game that just can't be undone because like you don't want because then it's going to turn into like a whole like like a trial situation. It's like, oh great, here's another thing to you know uh make the game go longer as we try and as we start hearing both sides, especially like after you're warned.
mm.
But like yeah, like the ump like 100% messed that up. Um, and it's like, oh, that sucks, but like, oh man, so funny. Gonna get the umps are gonna lose their ejection ability.
Boone getting ejected. In game 1, nothing happens until the A's scored 2 in the top of the ninth. This is where we're getting into the whole I love winning, believe it or not.
Okay.
I know, as Yankees fan, controversial take. I love winning, but losing really shows you what teams are built for,
Mm-hmm.
and where they lose shows how they win and how the two differ and relate to one another. I think the Yankees are a team built for one or two good innings, and that's it. If they don't get one good inning, they're not winning that game. If they have like two really good innings and they get runs on the board, then they're probably going to blow you out, which
Okay.
we'll get into the other side of that coin in a bit. But there doesn't really seem to be duality, and the immediate fix to that would be some more depth in the lineup, some more pieces. But uh, the double-edged sword for the Yankees is the Mongo contracts that they throw out.
Mhm.
makes hard Makes it hard to move pieces without also giving up uh, good prospects that Cashman is usually high on, and
Mhm.
the fan base is usually high on when they get their little glimpse on social media, and then every Yankee prospect is like one good uh, Instagram post from being absolutely beloved by the fan base.
It's gotta be weird being a prospect. Just like it's gotta be like a weird plane of existence because like you're unproven, right? So like the fan base is just like you know kind of projecting
Hmm.
onto you, and then you can get moved at any time.
Yep.
You're a little bit of a high leverage piece, right?
Yeah.
But then you get called up, if you're say Jackson Holiday and things don't work out, and now you've got a bunch of like you know 40-year-old dudes making fun of you
Mm.
because it's like yeah, I was like what if he didn't go to the MLB, he'd be what in his sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
And like they just got like these people just like roasting him. It's like what are you roasting him for? But then you get but then like also like if you get your prospects traded and like the whoever that you got traded for doesn't pan out, like the whole fan base is going to be looking at you like, oh, what could have been the one that got away.
Mm. The Yankees, I think, is even a special case too because when it comes to like other teams and their minor league affiliates, they just kind of like take what they can get.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees, relatively speaking, have all their teams in commuting distance, and even if they're not, Tampa is kind of like a second home to the Yankees,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the influx of New York people there. And
Yeah.
the Tampa is also what the AAA team used to be.
Okay.
It's a single A team now, but they still make absolute bank. I think they have one of the biggest minor league ballparks at every level. But I think the only one outside of their normal circle because they have one in New York, one in New Jersey, which is essentially all just Yankees country. We appropriated New Jersey. Uh,
Yeah.
the Double A team is in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which like that's the only place we can that really conflicts, I think. But the Rail Riders have an identity of their own, and I think a lot of pro Yankees feelings will come out of there. But we just, I can't speak for every team, but I know we love up here. Just see that minor league teams produce, they like win minor league championships, but players specifically, when, who was it? When Peraza was producing, he was hitting the cover off the ball. Everyone was getting hyped for him to eventually come up. Then he was usurped by Volpe. Cabrera was in that conversation too, and it was just a lot of moving pieces where everyone was so passionate about these pieces. And I think Cashman specifically took that as we should hold on to these guys and see what we can make of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's held on to the vast majority of those people. I struggle to see who he let go of in trades, but that's the sitch when it comes to that front. What was I talking about? Yankees are built for only like one or
Yeah,
two good
two
innings.
innings. That's not a very good
Not not the
build.
best team identity, but I think it also hinges on pitching and defensive
Mm-hmm.
output, which bullpen pitching and even starting pitching has been great. There are only just like a pair of bad starts. I think everyone has. Maybe Nestor has a couple more, and Gill and Schmidt being lower in the rotation, less is expected of them. I don't think anyone has done anything egregious on those fronts, but Defensively, team's been better, especially in the outfield, but we'll touch on those infielders later on in the episode. Maybe I'll probably bring it up later, and we also have our ending segment to go on. But to bring in another low light, Alex Woods, the A's starting pitcher for one of the games.
Former
I think
Giants starting picture.
yeah, he looks great. He's going to make a great trade piece.
Uh, I couldn't wait. I was so happy we got offloaded off season.
If his output against the Yankees is anything to go off of, I'm scared if I have to face him again.
No,
He did pretty good.
I don't want the people that we traded who were bad to be good because that
Well,
implies that it was us.
yeah, maybe it was
It probably was.
Alex Wood.
Actually, no, it probably wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. It's really weird because we lost our pitching coach, and now Andrew Bailey. Now he's with the Red Sox, and they're doing really good. Like one of the best bullpens.
Yeah, Alex Woods gave up 1 run on 8 hits. Okay, 8 hits with 2 walks and 5 strikeouts in 5.2 innings. So there's some things I like about that there. Others I don't, but I guess it's also an indictment on the Yankees that they couldn't get anything done with 8 hits in a little more than 5 innings. But I like upside if that start is anything to go off of. I wonder how old Mr. Woods is. Alex Woods is drumroll please.
32.
32. Move him to the bullpen. I think it'll be great.
Is he 32?
He is 33.
Ah, dang.
So close enough. I was about to give it to you. Move him to the bullpen. On a team that isn't the Oakland A's, might have a good piece there.
A good long reliever.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. To give out an LVP award, Oswaldo Cabrera. I hate this since he was off to such a hot start, but I'll be talking about him later in the episode. He had a 0.071 batting average with 1 hit in 4 games across 14 at bats. He turned into a bizarro version of his start just for this series, but meh. I'm gonna get a lot more negative later on, but that's what the Oakland series was.
Well, here's going to be our first overall negative episode.
Andrew, let me throw it over to you.
All right.
How's the other side of the war going?
Oh, well, overall not great. The Giants are currently 15-21. Yeah. We had a game where we start off home against the Mets, and then home against the Pirates, and then a road trip to Boston, topping off with a road trip to Phillies. And we'll start off with the 8th series, home against the New York Mets. The Giants won this series 2-1. With Game 1, the Metropolitans came to visit the Bay. They had what some experts call an atrocious opening week. Some even called the season dead on arrival. But the Mets said nay to that prognosis and shot back with 5 straight series wins and a 6-game win streak, beating the Braves and Bums. With eyes set on the struggling Giants and starting against a pitcher who should be in pain, they blinked. Keen Win wants those W's and wants to stay in this competitive rotation. And here's where he showed why he should stay. 6 innings pitched, the most he has ever pitched. 21 batters faced, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 straight innings of 3 up, 3 down. And oh, what's this? He did it with only 87 pitches. If there's one thing that this offense hates more than risk, it is a hot starter. But after a 1-2-3 first inning, the sleeping Giants woke up to their little brothers and decided to smack them around a little, remind them of their place. They worked the count and got a total of 4 walks. Conforto got another home run, solo, and Nick Ahmed got a 2 RBI single. Then the lights went out. The Giants' bullpen catcher nearly died trying to catch a Duvall pitch. The park filled with ominous orange light. Camilo Duvall comes out and he is less than Tranquillo. The score is 5-1, and he thinks that's too big of a gap, so he allows a run. Let the Mets think they see him. Then he goes in for the kill, and the Giants win 5-2. Then in game 2, the bats woke up. Keen Wynn killed it, and oh no, it's a Logan Webb start. How will the offense support him? They won't, unfortunately. To start with the bad, consistent hitter Jung Hoo Lee broke his 11-game hit streak by going 0-2. When I say 0-2, that is for credited at bats. But he got 2 walks to even it out. The top 3 of the lineup recorded a total of 0 hits, to include DH Wilmer Flores. In fact, the Giants had gone 1-2-3 for the first 3 innings and wouldn't get a hit until the electric 5th inning, where they scored 2 runs. They wouldn't get their last run until the 9th. But that won't deter the MLB ace, the ground ball king, the Cy Young nominee, the face of the San Francisco Giants, Logan Tyler Webb. Last 4 of his social, 8541. He saw what Keaton did, and as Keaton smacked around the Mets last night, Webb decided to smack the Mets and Keaton as well. 8 innings pitched, 20 batters faced, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 7 hits, no runs, and all in 106 pitches. Webb showed the MLB how to be a starter. Had he stayed under 100 pitches after the 8th, Bowmel would have let him complete the game. Game 3. The Giants lose their chance at a sweep here. After hearing the Blake Snell is really getting better, guys, this is a game where your doubts will soon fade away, I swear. He was scratched in place on the 15-day IL for an abductor strain, so we will be missing him for his next 3 starts. So a bullpen day it'll be. The team faced former Giants starter turned reliever Sean Manaea, and the Mets disrespected him. After only 4.2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts, he was pulled. Manaea did not want to go, and you can tell he was not happy. Even the Giants postgame rep took note of the disrespect and said it was a bad move. The Giants lost 8-2. Highlights for this series: Keaton Wynn, with his 6 innings pitched, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 walk, 87 pitches, and 5 straight innings of 3 up, 3 down is beautiful. Now you might want to put an asterisk on that 3 up, 3 down because some of those innings were ended due to double plays, but I think that still counts. I think he's a diamond in the rough, especially. And I'm really proud that we have him, especially since he's only filling in for Alex Cobb, who is unfortunately going to be on the injured list longer, as he has some other shoulder problems, which really sucks for Cobb because this is his contract year, and I don't think he's going to be with the Giants next year. I don't think he's going to be with any team next year.
Indictment.
Unfortunately, because he's not going to be back until maybe June, maybe before the break, but we'll find out. My second MVP for this series would be Logan Webb. He seemed to take Keaton Wynn's start as a challenge because, oh boy, was he hot with his 8 innings pitched, 108 pitches, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 7 hits. He had the standard no-run support from the team until mid to late game. And Webb walks away with another W. Another season looking for the Cy Young, showing that the offense shouldn't be such a negative factor for pitchers, and Webb continues to be ignored by the MLB in true Giants fashion. That changed a little bit towards the end of the series, or end of the this episode, because Webb is struggling now. But at the time that I wrote this, disrespected. He has, at this time, he had better overall stats, I think, than Tyler Glasnow, and should have been recognized. Him, Hicks, and Keaton Wynn. My third MVP is going to be Mike Yastrzemski, because it looks like he's coming out of his slump. In Game 2 of the series, he went 2 for 3 with 2 singles and 3 RBIs. Lowlights, or LVP, I've got 3 of them.
Damn.
Number 1 being Tom Murphy. Being backup does not look fun. You show up every 4th or 5th day so the main guy can get some rest. So now your stat line sucks because it's been so long since you last played, and this is a real game, and you understandably suck. Tom Murphy, at this point, has a batting average of .074 and an on-base percentage of 0.194. At the end of the series, and he went 0. At the end of the series, he went 0 for 4. My number 2 is Austin Slater. It's very strange seeing the longest tenured member of the team being sidelined so hard, but his performance turns his outings into exasperated sighs. He went 2 for 5 in his outing against the Mets and didn't get a single run or RBI. And my third one hurts, but I put Jung Hoo Lee on here.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It hurts to put him on here. Coming from the KBO and the Padres being the only team he's faced twice, meaning that every pitcher and a lot of relievers are his first time facing them, you can see my reluctance to put him here. He's also a leadoff hitter too, but he had an 11-game hit streak going, which is great. He has great contact, a great swing, and can get the ball to where he needs to go until the league figured him out. The number for flyouts to center and 4-3 ground balls is staggering, and it reached zenith in the series. He went 1-for-8 with only 2 walks. With that said, I don't expect him to be on this list very often. If there's any issue that Jung Lee Lee is having right now is combination of some power problems because he gets a lot of ground balls. He's not a power hitter. That's fine. But unfortunately, the rest of the league seems to have just read up on him, and they always seem to be in the right spot. And it is so frustrating. It's frustrating for him. It's frustrating for me. I'm sure it's frustrating for the rest of the fan base to see him just get these line drives and these fly balls that go deep, and just the other teams are just able to read him completely, and it's very unfortunate. Well, that's all I got for our Mets series.
What do you think about the Mets? Is it all about them?
Um, I mean, it's always about the Mets, but maybe not this season. I don't think this season will be their season. They had that rough start, uh, but they came back from it. So that definitely, I think, is something to be on the lookout for. Like, you should definitely not be relaxed around them, because they if they have a chance to come back, they will. All right, Leon. What about your next series? Was it better than the A's?
It was better than the A's. I was previewing that I was gonna have a lot of negative things to say. But this series ain't it, because despite going 2-1, there were back-to-back 15-run games.
Dang. Sorry. Wow. That must be so nice. That must be so nice. 15?
15. There were two of them.
Just that's even more ridiculous. Two?
Two.
I mean, let me see the Giants and the Mets.
The scores.
Yeah, let me just kind of let me look at just for one
All
of
right.
the
Let me.
games.
I'll rattle off the whole series. Game one. 7-6 loss against the Brewers. Then a 15-3 win. Then a 15-5 win.
What's that like?
Um, Fun to see. I wasn't really uh on top of these games because move out and everything, but
See, the Giants had against the Mets 8-hit game. They had another 8-hit game and another 8-hit game. So, wow, 15 runs, 30 runs in 2 games, or 30 hits in 2 games.
30 runs in 2 games.
Oh no, 30 runs. Yeah, not hits. 30 runs. Oh my
Let me see how
god.
many hits they got. Uh,
See, now I'm blown away even more because it's like I was thinking of hits.
in 2 games, they got Jesus Christ. All right, so they got 19 hits in one game
Okay, that's awesome. And they turned
in that first game, and then in the other game they had 18
and turned 15 of those hits into
in
runs.
both games. It's crazy to think about.
That must be so good seeing having a team that can hit.
You'd think, right? But we'll definitely get into this next series about. There's a whole duality of like when hitters can hit here, but
Okay.
crazy to think about. But yeah. To get into the highlights aside from there being back-to-back 15-run games, let me just list off some stats, and I promise I won't be completely hitting base because we're starting off with Carlos Rodon again, who allowed
Hey.
1 run on only 2 hits and 1 walk and 8 strikeouts in 6 innings in his start in the series.
Okay. It's awesome.
That is awesome. Alex Verdugo .333 batting average this series, 5 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 4 runs scored in 3 games.
Okay.
Aaron Judge,
Hey,
batting
the Judge Man.
batting average of 417, 5 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 runs scored in 3 games.
Has the king returned?
I'm gonna say yes
Yay!
if you ignore what happens after this. Uh,
Well, for this one game.
Another Yankees controversy. During game one. Oh no, not game one. Other games. Never mind. One of the other games. I don't know if you saw this, but sliding into second base, Judge already out. Second baseman stepped on the bag, goes to make the throw to first. Judge has his hand up.
Yep.
Wapa!
Yeah, you broke up the double
Said,
play.
not in my house.
It was a controversial break,
Bad boy
but you did it.
Pistons. We're seeing the evolution. We're seeing the bad boy Judge come out.
Oh
This
yeah, yeah.
obviously wasn't intentional. This is all very tongue in cheek when it comes to what the
His
what the fan
he's in
base is
his
saying.
he's in his villain arc.
Especially when he gets thrown out of the game later on, like we'll see.
Was it this series?
One of the next series.
Okay. Who are you guys playing right now? What series is this? Orioles?
Brewers.
Brewers. Brewers, that's right. Brewers are having they're having a time.
They are having a time. Let me check up on my Brewers because we played a little bit in out of the park baseball. We were trying to co-manage and
Yeah, we got to get back into that.
just set up our stint with the Brewers. Brewers had a 20-13 start, top of their division. Love to see that, especially over the Cubs. Well, not especially over the Cubs, but Pirates, Cardinals. They're at the very bottom. Nice to see. Brewers deserve some love. Underappreciated underappreciated fan base in the league. I think.
What do you think of the MLB kind of coming out and being like, yeah, they got the judge call wrong. He should have been out on, or it should have been called interference.
Yeah, they're completely right. But also, like,
They are, but
unfair calls happen all the time. I've seen a lot of unfair calls against my team. I think it's
yeah,
something
like
you kind of got to expect. But he absolutely should have
is.
been called for interference.
Do you think he only came out and said like, yeah, bad call, judge should have been called out for interference, like as like a, like okay, like yeah, Boone, because they didn't come out and say Boone shouldn't have been ejected,
Yeah,
but
it goes both
they're
ways.
like, oh, but judge should have been, thrown out for interference, and it's like, all right, that's kind of
Come
interesting,
see, come saw. Oh wait,
Yeah.
this was retribution for Boone getting thrown out. Never mind, because Boone shouldn't have gotten thrown out, so this call also shouldn't have happened. So there we go.
Yeah.
Whole
Do
balance of power already restored. I can't wait to see where this leads.
you think that no call had a big impact on the game?
Um,
Probably not, because it was a 15 hit game,
yeah,
right?
I think
So,
both,
or 15 run game.
both.
So
None of these games, I think, this call means much. Brewers let up runs either way, and if it was during game one, which I'm pretty sure it wasn't, Brewers won anyway. So la di da. To give out my MVP, Anthony Rizzo. Welcome back. He's
the Rizman,
another hot and cold player. We got a lot of those, but
streaky.
538 batting average, 7 hits, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and 6 runs scored in 3 games. His 4 RBIs are the only stat he did not lead the entire team in during this series. But there are a lot of question marks going into this series in particular. Very cold as of recent. Everyone, kind of throwing around the idea of, do we actually like kind of need him? I think he's a good uh, franchise piece, a nice uh, face for the brand and everything.
He arguably kept Judge with the Yankees.
His dog arguably kept him with the Yankees. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry, his
His
dog.
dog. I'm sure there are more highlights like individually, but in a game that's so like run heavy, you
Yeah.
kind of luck into these games too. There is an element of that, I believe, when you get up to like 15 runs. It either shows like incredible incompetence. I don't think the Brewers are all that incompetent. I just think we got them on an off day. for the most part. Back to back
Yeah.
off days does show a little something. I think they're wrinkles that they'll quickly iron out.
Was this a home game?
This was away, I believe. Yeah, away. This was an away series.
Okay, so I was gonna say it was a home game. It could just be like you just get to that point of the road trip where it's like we just gotta get back home.
Yeah.
Just get home.
The element of luck, especially this early on in the season. And I wanted to highlight a lot of the production a lot of people were able to get. So that was nice. To just touch on the lowlifes a little bit. Uh, I think game one was lost because Clay Holmes only threw 10 pitches in his outing. He
Oh
could have
shoot.
been kept out of there longer, especially since he's been notoriously great so far this season. But
Okay.
I think it was a bad call by Booney to take him out so early, especially being replaced by a pitcher with a lot of question marks around him.
Who replaced him?
Michael Tonkin. He's just gave up the most crucial hits of the game, and there's no earned run attached to him. Bullshit. Where did these other two runs come from?
Yeah, the inherited runner and like what constitutes an earned run and what doesn't
Yeah,
is very
yeah,
confusing.
very very odd. Yeah, but he was pulled out in the 10th. Michael Tonkin was put in there.
Ooh, extra innings.
Um, I haven't done my deep dive on Tonkin specifically, but he is the wrong side of 30, and he's just barely on the right side of 35. He's 34 years old. I can easily see. I'll look into his metrics later on after this, but just going off the old eye test, I would have kept Holmes in there for at least another half inning, another inning. See if he can put it away, and then see in the 11th what guys are moving, what we can do. And name an LVP real quick. Luis Gil, during this one loss of the series, gave up 5 runs on 7 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. And just another like bad optical thing. He kind of let his inner emotions become outer emotions when giving up big hits in his start. Like you,
No, you don't want to do that.
you can't let the other team know that they're in your head and that they're getting a lot out of you. At the very, you got to preserve some part of yourself. And if he wants to be a major league starter, like he's shown flashes of, I think that's a habit you got to quickly ditch. I think that's only really reserved for like the very very top guys who like go on bad stretches or are chasing like a Cy Young or are leading in some statistic and don't really like having that given up. I think they're allowed that after a certain point when you hit a certain age and you've produced enough.
Or hear me out.
Okay.
You just yell at the runners whenever you give up a home run, and when asked about it, you just say, "I'm just an old school baseball player.
Uh,
I just like the way the game used to be played."
I like the days where I could keep a bottle of whiskey on me
Yeah.
on top of the mound. But very good Brewer series. Those I think the highs really carried everyone through these 3 games. Like, hell yeah, Yankees are back. Going into a 4-game series after this against the Orioles in division rivals. Everyone's eyes were on this. This was like everyone's like series to pay attention to all the week.
Yeah, the Orioles were at this point where people are like, "Oh, last year wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
fluke," because I don't really watch the Orioles, but like they had an owner who definitely doesn't care or didn't care last year, and they made it to the postseason.
Tell me about these Giants.
Series 9, home against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Giants win the series 2-1. Game 1. The homestand continues on, and the Pirates come to town to partake in a mostly offensively boring game with a total of 15 runs between both teams across the three games. Kyle Harrison had a rough start but corrected the ship quickly. He got through his 6 innings without any runs. The game was locked 0-0, and we were looking down the barrel of an extra innings game with the dreaded Manfred runner until something miraculous happened. Michael Conforto got walked. Matt Chapman got a single. And who comes up to bat without any outs? One Patrick Buster Posey reincarnated Bailey.
Mm,
A wild pitch led to the runners advancing, and the two teams' managers had a tough decision to make. For Baumel, it was, does Bailey bunt? Bailey is an excellent runner, and a well-timed bunt could load the bases, meaning a sac fly is all that would be needed to win the game. On the Pirates side, the decision was, do I walk Bailey? The score was 0-0, so the offenses were snoozing big time, and now they're awake. Bailey was 0 for 3 in the game. One strikeout, one easy ground ball, and a line drive to the right field. Walking Bailey would lead to Mike Yastrzemski to bat. But would he get pinch hit? Wilmer already pinched for Lamont Wade Jr., so that dangerous guy was not on the list. Tyler Fitzgerald? No, he was already LVP once, so no one's risking that. So the decision was made. Pitch to Bailey. The count was 1-1, and Bailey swings, hits, and gets a 3-run homer to end the game and save us from an extra inning game. In Game 2, the second game of the series was much like the first. Jordan Hicks absolutely killed it with a personal best of 9 strikeouts in one game. He got through his 6 innings and pitched through 2 errors in the same inning committed by the same player. This game dropped his ERA to 1.59. Genuinely happy to see him succeed in his role as a starter, but sadly that is where the fun ends. Another dead game, offensively speaking, with the game tied 1-1 going into the 10th. Taylor Rogers decided to give up 3 runs and 2 home runs, bringing the score to 4-1. Soler attempted to cut the deficit by getting that elusive home run, but it just wasn't enough, and the Giants lost 4-3. In Game 3, would you be surprised if I told you that this was another offensively dead game? Because it was. Keaton Wynn returns, and he once again dealt out with only 1 earned run and 5 strikeouts, 3 of them consecutively in the third. The Giants enter the third inning with back-to-back homers from the 7 and 8 batters, Tyro Estrada and Mike Yastrzemski. 8 batters got a hit in the third, and 3 runs were scored off of 4 hits and 1 sac fly. And then they would proceed to have the only 2 base runners for they would proceed to only have 2 base runners for the rest of the game. But in the end, the Giants took the game, and the series was a 3-2 score. And I want you to keep in mind for the rest of this episode the Giants' scores. Because they, for a very long time, they don't make it past 3 runs. My MVP for this series, Jordan Hicks, because he had another great start and another great pitcher. He's another great pitcher ignored by the MLB. He only threw 88 pitches with 9 strikeouts and 1 earned run off of 5 hits. And Patrick Bailey, who had another walk-off homer for the guy, and he does it in front of Joey Bart, which, if they actually didn't like each other, would have been interesting to see. And then my LVP is going to be someone who appears on this list later on, Matt Chapman, because something is wrong with our third baseman offensively. He went 2 for 12, 1 run, 6 strikeouts.
That's brutal.
Yeah, slumps happen, but when the offense is already lacking, every K, every ground ball, every line drive or pop-up hurts more and more.
Do you know how many walks he got?
In his last 30 games, 6 walks. 113 at-bats, 22 hits, 12 runs, 8 RBI, 35 strikeouts.
Bleh.
Yeah, so not good, and it gets so much worse.
You gotta get on base, my guy.
Yeah. I mean, at least at this point, he was making, he's making some defensive plays, as we will see later on. That will change. And then as far as the when I mentioned those errors committed by the same players, that was Wilmer Flores, who committed 2 errors in the same inning, but they didn't lead to runs, so he didn't go to my LVP, but they won the series, so.
That's all that really matters when it comes.
They won the series. They should have another series that should have been a sweep. They just got one run before they went to extra innings in that second game. The Giants are we're gonna see this. This is where things get after this point. This is where things get ugly, but we will see how they just failed to capitalize on gifts. But what's your next series?
We're going 4 games with the Orioles.
Woo!
4 games with the Orioles at the Orioles.
Okay.
Does not end well. Yankees go 1-3.
Is that your second series loss?
I think so.
That's crazy.
Yankees go 1-3. Would have liked to see some more. Would have liked to see a different outcome and even some more competition throughout all this. I've seen more Yankees-Orioles games that I have any other matchup in the league. Also, just the most games I've seen in person. These are usually the games that my grandpa would take me to, just because tickets for these were relatively
Cheap.
cheap, like all the time. So, and I also saw them when the Yankees were coming up. It's post 2009 now, so everything's just moving slow. Mariano is going through the motions. He retires. Uh, Jeter, not his younger self. He got to like 3,000 hits, and then it was just a matter of time before he called it a career.
Mhm.
Rodriguez had his second steroid run in, so he retires. And fun fact, his roster spot was immediately filled upon his retirement by Aaron Judge.
Oh wow, that's oh wow, that's
Yeah, they really are. His exit, one era ended, another began. You can look at it like that. But he was just on top of that, these matchups were usually Yankees going through the motions, and then this really good, this really young uh, Orioles team being coached by uh uh what's his name? He just
Buck
got fired
Showalter.
from the Mets. Showalter, Buck Showalter. I know this. I know baseball. I know baseball like that. Cut out that part where I'm struggling, please. But it was that Buck Showalter team, and
A
Buck,
former Yankees manager,
yeah,
Buck Showalter.
Buck loves playing against the Yankees specifically because they're the ones that ditched him right as the dynasty was about to break out. So those 5 Yankees World Series that Jeter has in his fist, that Mariano had on his fist, Pettit had on his fist, could have been a Showalter coach team. Fun fact. But now we might be somewhat in that same era again. Yankees cooling down after a bunch of nice playoff runs. They're making the playoffs this year, no doubt. But
Yeah, if they lose one series out of every three or four,
yeah, they're in good
yeah,
standing.
yeah,
They'll
they're
just
gonna
have
get they're gonna get the bye.
Yeah, they'll just have to worry about running into like the Orioles again when it comes to like the postseason. Oh God, another orange and black team in the playoffs, swiping the Yankees out. Tell me if I've lived this fantasy before. But
Nightmare, I think.
to touch on the highlights again, Oswaldo Cabrera and Austin Wells uh, hit their first homers of the season. Great to see.
Yay.
Wells supposed to be the catcher of the future, and he was known kind of in the minor leagues for being a catcher that can also hit. So great to see him take a ball yard. Uh, Luis Gill didn't allow a run on 2 hits and 1 walk, uh, and had 5 strikeouts in 6.1 innings in Game 3. Great to see. That's what uh, third third rate starters are kind of doing. If you're not going for like 7 innings, you go just above 5, and that's where you are.
Mhm.
So great to see that kind of stuff. My MVP for the series, I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna say Juan Soto.
Yeah, he's the prodigal son.
If you remove one game from the series, he's hitting 500, which like great achievement. But even with this added game, he's hitting 429 off of 6 hits and a home run, an RBI, and a run scored in 4 games.
Okay, can't go
Um,
off Juan,
Mr. Soto,
Mr. Soto.
Soto Soto. What was the sun will come out, Tanaka. We gotta find a way to replace that with Soto. I was workshopping that last night just because I love that. I love that call so much.
that it's not fair. This one man
Generational
gets
talent.
is getting as many hits than you know some Giants games.
Yeah,
The Giants get in one game.
whole major league games, and he's doing it in a series, across a series.
Juan Soto is approximately you know one Giants.
One Giants game.
Yeah, he's.
One giant series. Um,
Oh my
Now for
god.
some lowlights. A shutout in game one, despite everybody but Rizzo and Cabrera getting on base. That sucks. Like, you can't get anything out of that specifically. I just tapped down Rizzo for number two. I did not know what I wanted to talk about with that specifically, but we're going to tie this back to just. All right, I know what I was going to say. Rizzo, Glaber, Judge, and Stanton a little bit, even though he's kind of become a guy that's like quietly hitting and not causing that many problems. But I'll stick with Rizzo, Glaber, and Judge for this. Very hot and cold. If you break up their season so far when it comes to like series or individual games, they have like two really good games in one series, and then they go cold, and then you'll have to wait for another like two games in a series, and then they'll be good throughout those two games, and then they'll go cold again.
Okay, I feel that. I know what that's like. I can empathize with you.
I don't want empathy. I want my guys to hit, and that's their thing. When they go cold, it isn't like the they work a walk and that they work walks, but that's all their defense. That's all their offensive output. That's usually like it's not even that. It's like they don't get on base because they don't hit. And Judge specifically is a guy that can work walks, but they just don't hit. And if
Why would you
I
work a walk when he can just hit a home run?
that's true. That's absolutely true. But
We know he can do it.
how about like a double? Billy Bean philosophy.
Yeah,
All the guy really needs to do is get on base, and none
yeah.
of these guys can really get on base unless they're working a hit, unless they're working in a hit. Rizzo, I think, is the best out of all of them. On now, I wouldn't say that. Judge is good at working walks just because his strike zone is so weird. But put that factor aside, I think Rizzo stands atop them when it comes to people that work walks the best, especially last season. I don't know. I don't think that's carrying over to this season. I have him down specifically as somewhat of a problem, but this is a series where he kind of, I think, worked a problem in the lineup, and it's just, gosh, if I made note of every time like the Yankees lost this game because they weren't able to hit, we that would be like at least 60% of the podcast. This problem is slowly going away, which
That's
is so weird.
and I
When
think you're
you're a
giving it to
fan,
us.
I'm giving it to you, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're
Sorry.
inheriting that.
It's very bad and boring baseball to watch.
Oh, I am aware.
I There's nothing worse than the only thing worse than boring baseball is boring hockey. When your hockey team sucks, it's boring and you can't really get yourself to like tune into games.
Yeah.
It's like I went down to school as a big hockey head after the Islanders went on such a tear throughout all of high school, and I loved watching Islanders games. But then, even though their game was probably some of the more boring games out there in the league, once they got rid of their head coach Barry Trotz and started losing more, games became harder to watch. There's a direct correlation, and that's what I've come to understand now is why people don't really watch hockey. If your team isn't good, games suck to tune into. Baseball, I put in a nice second place, especially bad Yankees brand of baseball, where it's just like it's like a slow burning movie. I think their play style is, but there isn't really. I I I guess there are unsuccessful slow burning movies, but that's what a Yankees loss is. It's a unsuccessful slow burn kind of movie. Like if Joker ended with just like a wet fart, like he's carrying around this gun throughout the entire movie and he just like walks out of the theater or he shoots himself. Like cuz that's the twist. That's why the ending to that movie specifically is like so good.
Yeah.
But that's what a bad Yankees loss is. It's just a bad, an even worse Joker, depending on who you ask. Just like
Okay.
What was the point of all the Batman and Thomas Wayne setup if he was just gonna like shoot himself in the face or whatever the fuck? But
Okay.
that's what I'd attribute uh the output on some of these like big hitters that
Uh,
aren't like Soto. We're,
hmm.
we're just very hot and cold and
It's
only have
the
like
new Aaron Judge.
2 game stretches. I have more lowlights. Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres. I wrote a whole paragraph on you, my guy. He hit his first home run, which is great. Like this is a very good turning the page on the season kind of thing. But I think his offensive numbers are completely tied to his defensive numbers. He
Oh.
isn't like the best defensive second baseman, but I
Mhm.
think last year he was like above average in his output, and I think that's a controversial
Mhm.
opinion to have because I think earlier on people were like he could be a trade piece, and I think they were specifically looking at I think either the Angels or no, who was it might have even been the I think it was the Astros who were looking to swap second baseman. I don't know who their second baseman was at the time. It was some team. It was some high level team who was immediately fear mongering about their future. But like Glaber could have been a good replacement who just like needed a bat. And I think this brings up a good dichotomy of him because who would you rather have? A bad defensive second baseman but who is a killer bat, or like a speedy and defensively great second baseman but is batting like 240,
Um,
let's say.
for me, it comes down to what's the rest of the team doing. If the rest of the team is, uh, you know, offensively like just they're on fire,
Hmm.
I'd be okay having a more defensively minded second baseman, because he's going to be breaking up a lot of, or not breaking up, but he'll be responsible for a lot of double plays.
Hmm.
Um, especially like defending against steals. And even if the catcher kind of sucks, uh, and you're unable to stop the steal, hashtag stop the steal, uh, you can prevent the ball from going, into the center, into the outfield, and then now you get 2 stolen bases. So, yeah, I think so. But then if you had a team that was just like, kind of weak offensively but stronger defensively, then I think I'd be willing to take a weaker defensive second baseman and have someone that can hit.
Hmm.
Because then you also have someone who could just like, you know, on their off days just come in to be DH,
Hmm.
especially if your DH isn't producing.
I think a quality hitting second baseman is what the Yankees would prefer, but when no one's hitting, you're like, especially when I think he leads the team specifically in errors already. So it's just like if you can cut down on some of these errors that are like getting people into scoring position,
Mhm.
you'd much prefer that. And I'd say you'd plug a lot of holes, but Rizzo, Judge, Stanton, they're they'd go games without getting a hit under their belt, a quality hit under their belt.
Mhm.
I think you start to like weigh those questions, and I think his position specifically comes to mind. Especially, it helps that he's in a contract year, and you can ship him off at little cost. But that's just something I wrote down a little bit. Something a lot of people have been weighing in their heads on Yankees Twitter. I put Judge hot and cold. I won't talk about that more. I wouldn't talk about that more, except Aaron Judge is my LVP, who hit
No.
077
Ugh.
across 4 games. He only
That's
had
rough.
one hit.
Dang.
One
How many
hit.
at bats?
How many at bats?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good question.
Ah, shoot.
We're about to find out this question. 13 at bats.
And you only had one hit?
Only had one hit. That was in the
Ooh.
first game.
Ooh.
It was in the first game. All the other games we
His
could have
spot
really used
used.
specifically, but uh, yeah, some bad spots, and I'll get into even more bad spots in the next series, even though the next series is almost completely positive. But just a lot of structural, philosophical, if you'd entertain the idea, on what the Yankees are and what they could be. I took up a lot of a lot of time with that, but
That's good. That's fine.
series get you thinking. Division in division series, they get you thinking. All right, Andrew. Tell me how your boys are doing.
Oh, okay. Well, we continued the little East Coast road trip uh, with series number 10. Oh, no, we don't continue the road trip. We start the road trip. Series 10 at Red Sox. And
Boo!
yeah, your division rivals,
Our big division rivals.
your arch enemy, arch nemesis, the Boston Red Stockings. And the Giants lose the series 1-2. Um, game one, the Giants leave home and go on a fun little road trip that will eventually end back at home and will be the longest stretch of straight games for the whole season at 16.
Hmm.
This brutal stretch starts in the windy city of Boston, home of the most belligerent people to grace this country. Logan Webb started the series and he was struggling from the start. He was already at 55 pitches thrown by the end of the second and would only go for a total of 3.2 innings.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, it gets worse. The
No.
Sox weren't chasing, so the breaking balls were ineffective. He walked 3 batters, and because the foul territory is nearly non-existent and the outfield is so big, hits were getting through a defense that had more holes than a sieve. On the offense side, the Giants had 4 straight innings of 3 up, 3 down, and 4 straight strikeouts. They only had 5 hits, only 7 base runners the entire game. The starting 4 batters combined for a 2 for 14 with 1 walk and 1 strikeout. On top of all that, the Giants K'd for a total of 10 times. Then the Red Sox starter, Cooper Criswell, played like he had the quick play setting from the show turned on with how fast he was pitching. First pitches of the inning were routinely missed, and he gave commentators little time to speak, which was unfortunate because John Miller is always a fun guy to listen to, and I was just stuck watching this team sleepwalk through 9 innings.
Oof.
The Giants lose. Okay, out of all that, guess what the score was?
Uh,
Your starter only lasted 3.2 innings after 55 pitches after the end of the second. The Giants had struck out 10 times.
um, I'm gonna guess conservatively. I'm gonna say 6
Nah, it
or
was 4
7
0.
4-0. Okay.
Yeah, it actually wasn't.
Okay. Well, it
It
wasn't
wasn't
bad.
really that bad of a loss. Like all
I, I,
these,
I
like
I was just thinking like proportionally offensive output versus offensive output, but you guys didn't have any offensive output. So
yeah, there was no offensive output.
essentially the same without runs
Felt
taken away from other runs.
it was just like there's just like a weird vibe because you're like, man, we're getting destroyed, but it's also only 4-0. Like this isn't insurmountable. Game two, I hate Boston. 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 At game three, they avoided the sweep. Game two, just to give you an idea, the Giants lost 6-2. They had 5 hits.
All right, more in line with what I was thinking.
31 at bats, 5 hits.
Wait, did I say? What did I say for the last game?
I think you said 6-2 actually.
Oh,
I can't remember. Yeah,
hey,
but game
I
two
was a
was
day
6-2.
off.
Yeah. And then the last game, they avoided the sweep. The Giants won. It's 3-1. They had 6 hits. And they went 6 for 31 as a whole. But as you know, so despite this being a series loss, and you know, uh, they scored a total of 5 runs for the whole series. There were some pretty good, interesting highlights. Lamont Wade Jr. He made a tough catch at first to score a clutch out, keeping his toe on the bag and fully extending to make the play. He quickly called to challenge the safe call and was immediately proven right. Like he he did the like the challenge thing, and then before they could even initiate the challenge, he just started walking back towards the dugout. Like that's just how sure he was, and I'm so glad that he was right because that would have been embarrassing if he was wrong. My second highlight would be Nick Ahmed because Mustache May is finally here, and the boys cheated by having their stashes ready, already ready. One such lad is Nick Ahmed, who got a jump on Mustache May, and it paid off in the third at his first at bat in the game, and he smacks a home run over the Green Monster. And if not for the billboard, would have knocked it out of the park. And Jorge Soler. I would put this under MVP. It should have been under highlights because frustrations are mounting for the 30-homer DH. In a game that consisted of 3-line drives, Soler had enough after lining to third base and broke the bat over his knee. Some clutch moments. Chapman, Ahmed, and Lamont Wade Jr. The game was basically lost in the bottom of the eighth, and out of nowhere, these three dudes were 1.5 to 2 steps away from pulling off the first triple play for the Giants since 2008. They didn't, but considering how hard those plays are, this is a highlight nonetheless. Mike
I love
Yastrzemski.
triple pairs.
Runners on third and second. Yaz is up to bat. The count is 1-1 and 2 outs. What does he do to bring in a runner? The Mad Lad bunts. A perfect bunt to get an RBI and a hit. I don't know if you've seen this play of him bunting in a run, but like it is just so ballsy. 2 outs and you bunt the runner on third, but it worked. The ball went just like perfect in between the mound and third base, and the third baseman. By the time the third baseman picked up the ball, he just looked at first base and just got sad. Lowlights, LVP. Despite me saying the last series that Logan Webb being disrespected by MLB, oh boy, he went and embarrassed me. Bad starts happen. It is the truth in this game. Webb has had an incredible opening month until this point. He had 19 straight scoreless innings, and eventually a rough start was bound to happen sooner or later. Considering that I would say this and his LA start were the worst he's had, 2 bad starts isn't the end of the world. And you know what the worst thing about it was?
What?
The commentators mentioned his 19 straight scoreless innings before the game started. I was like, oh, don't do that. Luck. Yeah, don't do that. It's bad luck. Not great. And spoiler alert, we end on a bummer of our next series.
I'm looking at it right now, and I know the last 2 games weren't all that pleasant specifically.
Yeah, let me see. Also, Mike Yastrzemski. He's had at least 1 homer for at Fenway Park for the 2 times that he's played games there, like for as like a series whole. Every time he goes there, and he will homer at least 1 time in the series. He's only been there twice. But
nice streak to have.
Yeah.
So, do you think he's back? Is the real question. Yeah, he's back.
He's getting there. He's
okay.
In the most recent game. He's currently batting 7th. I can see him being right now, like with our most recent lineup. Well, game 2 or game 3 against the Phillies, our lineup was Lee, Wade, Soler, Conforto, Bailey, Chapman, Yaz, Estrada, Ahmed. I can see at one point Yaz was batting 8th. If Chapman doesn't turn things around, I can see Yaz being the 6th batter.
Oh, I like Yaz.
I like him too.
At his best, where do you see him hitting in the lineup? Like
at his best,
2, 3, 4-ish range. No,
I would say if you with the new DH rules, I would say if you keep your DH in the 4 spot, I could see Yaz being 3, 5, 6 in there. If we didn't have the universal DH, I would say that he would be the 4 spot. I'm gonna send you this video. I just want you to watch this. This is Mike Yastrzemski singling on a soft bunt. Is that not a beautiful bunt?
That was perfect. He put it right. You think of bunting a lot, like Sweeping, is it? What's that Olympic sport where like they got the ice and they
Curling.
get curling?
Yeah.
You, I think of it like curling.
Yeah.
I think you look at either side. Well, not either side, really. The third base side of the mound closest to third base. You get a nice target right there, not too close to the dirt, not too uh far from, far enough away from the mound and the base path of just like this little dot that you really got to hit. I think
Yeah.
that's textbook definition. That belongs in the dictionary.
It's such a risky
Swing the
move,
button.
you know. Like they could have just ended so poorly. And he would have been on the LVP list for sure if that backfired.
Damn. Okay.
You don't think so? You bunt
You bunt
with
and you fail.
2 runners.
Bunt's risky.
Yeah,
And like that's usually not the player's call. That's usually a managerial call.
it is, but that was Yaz's call. He did that himself. He made the executive decision to bunt.
That we need a bunt right
Yeah,
here.
like
I
we need a
mean,
bunt. I'm gonna bunt.
does he have a
Uh,
history of like bunting well or not?
he's a good bunter. I would say he's a good bunter. Him and Bailey are like really good bunters. Bailey, Sable, and Yaz. I would say like if you're gonna have someone bunt, I think you want those 3 dudes.
Bunting was a foreign philosophy for my team for I think the past like 2 years. So
Well, yeah, hit dingers, but whenever you have no offense,
it's great to
it's like
it's great to hear about people that take the art of bunting well.
yeah.
Nice insight to a world I'm not privy to.
And you have any questions or anything that you heard of this game, the series that you were
I checked up on Laz. How it was Jung Hoo Lee? How was his output?
Jung Hoo
How would you
Lee?
characterize it?
Uh, not great.
Not great.
Still, I mean, maybe I'm being a little too harsh there. Um, so this last one, Lee went 0 for 4. The second game of the series, he went 1 for 4. No RBI, no runs. The first game of the series, he went 0 for 4. So not great, but
that if anything is getting to the LVP conversation.
Yeah, yes. But I do feel like I gotta grade him on a curve a little bit. You know, every game is someone he's never faced before.
Okay.
And I think that kind of helps a little bit. Also, like he was just, if anything, the thing is like one thing that I do want to kind of like point out as well is in that first game, no strikeouts. In that second game, no strikeouts. And in that last game, no strikeouts. So at least he's put. I have way more patience for a player who's at the very least putting the ball in play than someone who's just looking at just looking and be like, what do I do? And just swing the bat. Just put the ball in play at least, It also doesn't help that like with his no runs and no RBIs, you can't blame him because even on that last game, which was a win, Ahmed was 0 for 2. Yaz was 1 for 2. He got pinch hit. And Slater was 0 for 1. So like anyone that could have been behind him or that he could have like brought in, just they also weren't performing at all. And so like, you can't get an RBI if the guys behind you refuse to get on base.
You make points. This is truth.
You want to get into your last series?
I'll get into my last series. This is a series against the Detroit Tigers.
Hey, the hot Tigers.
Not so hot anymore.
Uh-oh.
Yankees finished this series with a sweep.
Woo.
Even though in the final game, only played 8-ish innings and got rained out.
Yeah, so they just stopped?
They just stopped.
They're like, okay, we call it here after 8?
Yeah.
When did they make that decision?
The opposing manager can fight tooth and nail.
Was this... Okay, so this was at home.
Yeah.
So the Tigers manager could be like, no, we got to play that last inning. Because like most recently it was it White Sox Cardinals where they delayed for 3 hours and they were just like one bat away?
Yeah, the
Like one at bat away from ending the game,
I had no idea about
or
that
was it
one.
one pitch away from ending the game?
I had no idea. I was not plugged in there.
And well, anyway, it delayed for 3 hours, and then they waited, and then when the delay was over, it was like an immediate strikeout.
The Yankees and the Tigers gave it an hour, and they were just like, "Nah, I think we've both seen enough." And AJ Hinch, Aaron Boone, AJ Hinch, Astros manager during the fluke World Series win. Now, now managing the Tigers. Everyone, don't forget that.
2020 wasn't real.
No, not 2020.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
The one where they were banging on the trash can, my guy.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, sorry. My hatred for the
For the Dodgers and their 2020 Mickey Mouse
yeah,
thing.
but yes, also 2017, not real, not real.
Not real. Also not real. Big asterisk. Despite that, despite Game Three not ending uh, as a normal baseball game should, pretty good series. Pretty good takeaways, all things considered. Going into the highlights, a come from the behind ninth inning magic in Game One. Got a nice win for the Yankees. Let me check up. Uh, it was a 1-0 game for the most part. Again, talking about slow burns, and then at the very end, there was a good ending. There was a good ending. Hits were strung together, and oh shit, the actual offense was offensing.
Whoa.
Whoa! So good, entertaining finish to that game. I'd skip all the other innings if I were ever to rewatch it. If I had the Blu-ray DVD Criterion at home. That's what I would do, looking back on it. But game two just had like straight hits. I was literally just talking about people that don't hit. Everyone hit in this game. Rizzo, Stanton, Volpe, Verdugo. I have not talking about Verdugo much. Uh, Great defensive third, left fielder rather. Great left fielder. Exactly what the team needs. Like, haven't seen good left field play since Gardner called it quits, but he's been producing. Verdugo's been producing on both sides of the ball. He's hitting in the cleanup spot. He's hitting at number 4, which is absolutely fantastic. He's slid into the role well. I've talked about his team culture contributions.
Who's your DH?
Stanton, for the most part.
Okay. Where's he hitting right now? What
Oh,
position? Five, six?
jeez. I don't like looking at where he's hitting. He's hitting 5, but that he travels up and down a lot. Uh, Glaber hitting last, blessing and a curse. I think. I think uh, putting in a solid hitter in third is a nifty idea, but he another up and down guy. He's not as hot as he used to be. His start. I'll talk about his little thing now. Not that hot of a start, but he when you need him to hit, he's somewhat reliable, and people are already talking about like, do you keep him around? I think he's a starting infielder, either third base or second base. I think he's got quality at bats in him, and he's great defensively. He was definitely an upgrade over Josh Donaldson, and I love him just personally. So whether if he stays with the team or not at the end of the season, can't wait to see what becomes of him. See Oswaldo Cabrera jerseys being sold across the league in some form would be nice. Also, another highlight of the series, just the bullpen being awesome. This is another uh, game two strong point. Game two is a game for me. Like all the hangups I've had across the series, game two just like answered, and it's just like this was the me game. Okay, I don't want to make this all about me, but this game was made for me. This is the drive. If we were, this is no longer the Joker, the bad Joker of baseball games.
This is
This
the
is
good
this is the
Joker.
drive of baseball games.
This is the
This this
Joker that
this is
was.
this is the literally me of baseball of Yankees 2024 baseball. I love this game a lot. I'd rewatch every hit. I was thoroughly entertained. Like again, Yankees production was left to just like the 2 innings, but even then, there were some great defensive plays. some entertaining like back and forth. I liked it a lot. But to move on from that, game 3 got rained out and everything, but Tigers brought up their perennial Cy Young candidate. I haven't heard about him until coming into this game, but one Mr. Tarik's, oh no,
Tyreek.
Tarikskubal. Skubal, their Cy Young candidate, um, probably had best outing of the entire series. Probably had the best Yankees outing against them, which if I were to pick a game, I'd want it to be this one. Kind of show that their firepower doesn't really phase us at all. I just great stuff to see. Uh, we shook him up specifically with a couple of big hits out there. We shook the Cy Young guy. Like
Yeah,
that's what fucking
that
passion is.
feels.
That's what the game is, bro.
Yeah, that feels so good when you do that. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. But that was the highlight of I think the series specifically. There's a little letdown later, but I'll get into that when I get to that. Aaron Judge is my MVP for this series, and it's about damn time. He got hot. Aaron Judge batting .500 with 5 hits, a homer, 2 RBIs, and 4 runs scored over 3 games.
God,
If this is a sign for things to come, and
judge, judge,
I
judge,
I
judge,
go
judge.
into the Bronx tomorrow against the Astros, and I see some nice production out of him. 2 hits. Give me 2 solid hits. Give me a single, and then you can pick whatever the next one is. That's good. That's all I'm asking for at least my outing. And then you string together a couple things. You get another like 3-4 hit series. RBI. Let's make one of these hits. I'm happy. I'm happy for now. You continue the stretch. Just don't go cold after 2 really good games. After 3 really good games. After a good series. That's all I'm asking.
Just don't go cold ever again.
Yeah.
Only
Just
produce.
just play like prime Lou Gehrig, like prime Mickey Mantle for 162 games, and I'll be happy. And I'll be happy. But to touch on the lowlights, what to do about Clark Schmidt?
Oh,
Clark Schmidt kind of operating in the, if I had to guess, kind of like the 4 or 5 hole right now. Him and Louis Gill are in this little weird spot. Pitched 5 innings, I believe, in his outing. Gave up 3 runs. And it's like, you either got to do 2 things. You either got to give up, if you're pitching 5 innings, you need 2 or less runs. But if you're giving up 3 runs, you got to at least give me like 6.1. And it's shaky stuff like that that's like, he's shown great things. I think at his best you can obviously see a nice starting rotation piece in Clark Schmidt, but at his worst, you're looking at like, all right, let's give Cole enough time as possible to like rest up, and then he can come back into the rotation at full strength, maybe with some minor league rehab starts. Luis Gill or Clark Schmidt, what do you do about those 2 guys? Who goes to the bullpen? Who goes to the minors? Who stays in that rotation spot? Clark Schmidt in the bullpen's got a lot of upside. He can just hone his best stuff and cut down on his hits. I don't know. What do you look for in a 4 or 5 uh, spot starter?
um, well, considering that our current starters in those spots are Jordan Hicks and Keen Wynn, uh, they've just been absolutely killing it. Uh, man, I think with all the starters, like it doesn't matter like where you are in the rotation.
Hmm.
Like I think when I think of like the rotation, it's a seniority thing.
Hmm.
Logan Webb's been here the longest. He's gonna be the number one. Blake Snell's the new guy. But he's a veteran. He's gonna be the number two. Kyle And then you've got Alex Cobb and Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison in spot number 3. He's the new guy. Like he's still technically in his rookie year still.
Mm.
And then spot 4 is Alex Cobb. You have someone who's older in his last year of the contract with the team, and our 5 spot would have been ideally Jordan Hicks, and they've all been killing it. Like I just see it more as like a seniority thing than like a skill.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just kind of how it gets kind of painted out.
When it comes to like the Giants.
Well, yeah, when it comes to the Giants, yeah, each team can do it differently, but even then, like across the Giants, like ideally you have you have a bunch of different pitchers with different skill sets. Webb is a good ground baller guy, so you're not like if you put a lot of value in strikeouts, well, he's not going to get strikeouts. He gets ground balls, so he's going to get a lot of double plays and a lot of easy outs to first. And ideally a lower pitch count. Like I was like looking at like when I was talking about like his earlier games, like he pitched 8 innings with 108 pitches, and with that one he just happened to get a lot of strikeouts. But if those weren't strikeouts, if those were ground balls or even fly balls, he would have pitched a complete game. Blake Snell's someone who walks a lot, but he's able to get out of it. I just want somebody who knows what they can do and excels in that. If you give up a lot of hits, I don't really care if you give up a lot of hits, as long as your earned runs are, or as long as the runs are low. Because like you see that from time to time with like highlights. Low runs.
Yeah.
How many innings are pitched?
4 or 5 guy. Looking at like 5 to 6. 6 on a good day.
Okay, we'll say 6 runs. I'm okay with 3. Three runs, allowing 3 runs total.
Okay.
That's not insurmountable. But like if you're talking about the Giants, it's like, well, how many runs is too many? 1 run is too many.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely 4, because the Giants just can't seem to get over 3. So
I'm not mad with Clark Schmidt and his 3 runs, but especially thinking back to like last season and how it relates to now, it's just like I'm waiting for that next step, because like come July, August, September, hopefully late October, where does he, if he's like the 4 or 5 guy, if he's still giving up 3 runs like this in a postseason game when stuff's on the line, I want to know why, how that's being compensated by runs now being scored, which is a problem now because hits. But now that's just where I'm at right now. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it, for me, it just kind of depends on what the offense is like, I guess. I mean, it's cool to have a pitcher who can shut out, for their entire outing.
Oh, of course, but
that's not
that's not 4 or 5 guy.
Yeah, but like that's also just not feasible. Like, you tell me like every 5 games you're going to get a guaranteed shutout. It's like, okay, that'd be cool. Just not possible.
Have you heard of a guy named Garrett Cole?
Rings a bell. Didn't he wash out? His brother-in-law is a way better pitcher, though.
Who's his brother-in-law?
His brother-in-law has a career ERA of 0.
Who's Garrett Cole's brother-in-law?
Brandon Crawford. They're getting, I forget which, it was last year. I forget which the Giants got. I think the Giants were winning. I think they had a blowout, and for years Brandon Crawford was like, "Let me take the mound," and he struck out the side. So
I forgot Brandon Crawford was his brother-in-law. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So here's an interesting question, because now we are at this point. I mean, series wise, we're in May, but April's over. you're kind of looking at some people. You know, you're definitely looking at your three or you're seeing where your weak spots are.
Mm-hmm.
So like if there's anyone on the team right now like that is like a you know either consistent or like they're the backup players,
Mm-hmm.
who out of everyone do you think is going to be like the most likely to get either traded before the trade deadline or sent back down to the minors, if
Damn.
any?
I don't know who's getting sent back down to the minors, but I think spots do need to open up. Jason Dominguez, I'd imagine, is going to want to play this season,
Mhm.
and like the outfield is kind of taken up. And if we want to move Judge out of the outfield, keep him healthy for whatever reason, a DH spot's got to get opened up, and it's just like, oh gosh, Giancarlo, what are you going to do with him? I don't know how he can move, but
Didn't the Astros send one of their dudes to
yeah, mm-hmm.
like kind of figure it out?
Yeah. Uh, name blanking on the name right now, but veteran guy.
Was it
Yeah,
was it Jordan?
yeah, Jordan Alvarez.
He got sent down to like he didn't get sent down to AAA. He got sent down lower.
You got sent down low. When you get sent down lower, it's literally just like take some fundamental at bats, see like
Yeah,
experiment with some stuff. So you're not experimenting with it at the major league level. That's why
yeah.
Manoa got sent down to like I think
Rookie league.
rookie league. But even then, that didn't do him any favors.
Well, he didn't show up the
No,
second time he got sent down there.
yeah, the second time, but like
That's a bold move.
now, nothing he's doing is seems to be working out, and it's
Well,
just
he had a
like
decent outing until that last inning.
um, you can have a decent outing all you want.
Yeah.
It's that final line that really does you in. But I like that final line. I
The
keep it on my mantelpiece.
the uh, the Toronto manager just did what I do when I play out of the park baseball and hit next at bat too many times. I wasn't paying attention to my pitcher's stamina.
Damn. All right, if I can wrap up my low lights as fast as I can. Aaron Judge got ejected
Yep, yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
first game. First ejection ever.
that was credit to Close Call Sports. Um, yeah, that was not the one to argue.
Mm.
It was in the zone.
It's like I think at least subconsciously like he's been take the lower part of his zone has been taken advantage of more than
For
anyone
yeah,
in
but
the
this one was
league.
on the inside.
Yeah. So I can see him getting upset about that. I think he specifically got called out because he put it on the umpire directly. I
Yeah,
think when you're complaining about like a call you get, you have to generalize it. Once you start pointing fingers like you behind me,
yep,
absolutely doo doo feces on you, dude. Like
yeah. Isn't it like the thing?
check your eyes.
Like they say like there's a 3-letter word that is guaranteed to get you ejected,
Yeah,
and that
you.
is you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think that was his main mistake, and then following that up with an expletive, of course, did not help. But
oh yeah.
more career ejections than Jeter, which is like the how everyone is measured now. Interesting
Jeter
to
never
see how
got
this
ejected.
Jeter never got ejected
Okay, that's
because he's such a class act.
yeah. I don't know. Like I guess you got to take each ejection case by case,
Yeah, of
but
course.
generally it's like, it's like, come on, like what are you doing? Especially like for it does kind of get me with pitchers, like because like they only get themselves ejected when they know like, oh, this is probably my last inning, so now I'm gonna do something to get ejected. Best ejection, Kyle Schwarber
Hmm.
on Angel Hernandez.
I love that ejection.
This is like the greatest blow up ever
That
in
is
baseball history.
there's the greatest blow up in like one of the worst call games of all
Yeah.
time.
I
I
also
think about that often.
was that against the Brewers?
Soundbites.
Was he playing against the Brewers?
I forget who he was playing
Because
against.
like whoever the pitcher was for the other team, like when the strikeout got called, you see him walk back towards the dugout, and he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I got that." uh,
Oh,
oh, man.
I'll skip over my Ian Hamilton little tangent I was going to go on and
Oh, you
just
don't have
skip.
to do that.
Nah,
You sure?
we're
We are.
look at the runtime right now.
Yeah, there was when we started recording, I was looking back to see what I wrote for the Mets, and I was like, we played against the Mets. I completely forgot about the Mets and Pirates. I like have just been dooming on the the Red Sox Phillies. We can go to Series 11,
No,
Giants at Phillies.
no, Andrew.
As the Giants got
No,
swept,
Andrew.
they
No,
go 0 for 4.
Andrew.
I'm sorry. Game 1, the road
No,
trip
Andrew.
gets to the hardest point with the on fire Phillies. The Giants' 3-run streak unfortunately continues. The offense continues to be MIA with a total of 8 hits and 7 left on base, 4 of those in scoring position. That's for this game. What makes things worse is that Patrick Bailey was injured, taking a foul ball to the mask and getting pulled for blurred vision. He woke up the next day and still showed signs, or still had blurred vision, and is now on the concussion IL as they determine whether or not he had a concussion. I think he did. Also, if this is a confirmed concussion, I think this is his 4th concussion in his lifetime.
Jeez, that's
Yeah,
brain
so
damage territory.
yeah, it's getting real scary for our incredible catcher because he can hit. With the DH, the catchers are the new pitchers, and this guy is someone who, on occasion, can hit. Game 2, weather was terrible. There was a rain delay. The game should have been postponed, but the the Phillies decided to keep it going. Rain was falling for the first 2 innings, and Keaton Wynn was starting, and he struggled. Liam,
Mm.
Keaton Wynn only lasted 0.2 innings.
Jesus
He
Christ.
gave up 4 runs, and the game was a blowout with a score of 14-3. This is the Giant.
Ay,
This is the
caramba.
Giants being on this. This is the Giants' second sweep, and this is their second time being on the receiving end of a blowout. First one being against the Diamondbacks when it was 17-2, 17-3. Catching woes continue as now Tom Murphy has been hurt with a grade 1 or 2 knee sprain. So now the Giants dig into their catcher reserves with numbers 3 and 4, Blake Sable and Jackson Reitz.
Mm.
Do you know who your number 3 and number 4 catchers are?
We don't. I don't think we have him
Yeah,
on the roster anymore.
they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. Oh, this is bad. Things are getting bad. Game 3, Logan Webb is the stopper today, and he takes the mound sick, and it showed. 5 innings pitched, 5 runs, 4 of them earned. While the game was a loss, there are some things to be happy with, mainly the bullpen. The bullpen today consisted of Sean Jelly, Taylor Rogers, Ryan Walker. Sean Jelly, tallest pitcher in the league, probably MLB history at 6'11". They combined for 11 strikeouts, 2 hits, no walks, no runs. A big plus in this particular game was Jackson Reitz, who hit a solo home run in his first MLB at bat, and was the first homer the Phillies closer Jose Alvarado gave up. Now there's one more game left, and hopefully they can avoid the sweep. Spoiler, they don't. Game 4, the sweep was not stopped. Today's guest starter was Mason Black with his MLB debut, and boy did he put up a fight. After 3 innings, he only gave up 1 run, but the 5th gave him problems with 4 earned runs. Not bad for a rookie in his first MLB game against the team with the best record in the league. Offense continues to struggle with only 1 run and 5 hits, and the nightmare trip will continue. Thankfully, next is Colorado, so let's go get some, let's go gain some confidence there. Some highlights for this series is the bullpen, like I said, Sean Jelly. The bullpen as a whole, particularly Sean Jelly, who's my MVP. He got 6 Ks. 5 of them were straight, and no walks, hits, or runs. This is a dude that last season when he came out, I was like, this is the white flag. Like, Sean Jelly's out? All right, pack it up. Stop watching. We've given up. And now he's a dude that he just comes out like when it's, close, and he delivers. Jackson Reitz is another dude that I throw up there as a highlight for getting his solo home run at his first MLB at bat. He's our number 4 catcher. Also, I forgot to mention Blake Sable got hurt. That's why Jackson Reitz came in. So
Now you're forgetting how many people on your team got hurt, bro.
yeah, now thankfully with Sable, it was just a ball to the crotch, and I think he was just pulled out to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
But dear God, Uh, LVP is one-time MVP uh, appearance Nick Ahmed, and I'm not the only one who feels this. The people in the Giants Discord server and uh, even Cole Kuiper, host of Giants Talk, are getting tired of Nick Ahmed. Cole
Ooh,
Kuiper going so far as get him off the team.
dang.
His batting is terrible. His defense is lacking, and many plays to first that could, even if just barely, get an out, fall or fail to reach the base in time, and in the end, just risk errors and a free second base. He's atrocious. His offense is or defense is not great.
I don't
He
know if
doesn't
you
have the
know that you
power
cut out
behind it,
there.
especially for a shortstop. It's a pretty long distance. Like the closest you're ever going to get is from second base. For his last 30 games, he has 97 at bats, 21 hits.
Hmm.
His last 7 games, 21 at bats, 2 hits. His last 7 games, he averaged .095 with an on base percentage of .167. For the season, he has a 235 average and 24 hits off of 102 at bats. But like he is, despite Crawford being old, like and not having a great season last year, like we're still seeing like the downgrade, and it's frankly only a matter of time before he gets sent down. I think if anyone's going to get sent down or traded, uh, it's going to be him. I think he's on the chopping block for sure. I think he's most likely going to get sent down before he gets traded, because the cat's out of the bag on how he actually plays. So I think it's going to get sent back down, and it's either going to be Casey Schmidt or Luciano to come back. Most likely Luciano, since he was supposed to be like the everyday shortstop. Casey Schmidt, uh, he can play shortstop or third base. I think he can also play second base, but I don't think any of those guys. I don't think Tyro's going anywhere, and Matt Chapman's not going anywhere. Who's my other LVP? Because he had 2
Dang.
errors in back-to-back innings that led to runs and a Jordan Hicks breakdown. He had an error, just ball going through the legs, and the other one I think he dropped a fly ball, a pop up, which is like, come on, what are we doing? And also another LVP is just the offense again, because it's been terrible. Highlight. One other highlight. Jung-Hoo Lee making a impossible catch. Okay, so here, just watch this impossible catch.
I'm about to watch this impossible catch. Whoa! Oh yeah, I did see this. That was a great catch.
Yeah, so yeah, Jung-Hoo Lee definitely gets the highlight for that. I also want you to keep in mind that catch, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because Lowlight and my unmarked fourth LVP, ESPN and their garbage broadcast team.
Because they couldn't. Yeah.
No, because ESPN had the game last night, so they weren't there. That catch I believe was Friday.
Hmm.
Also, this series was cursed for me, man, because Game 1 was a Friday night game, so it was on Apple TV. I don't have Apple TV. Game 2 was we had D&D.
Yeah.
And also the delay made me miss the start of the game. I could have watched at least 2.5, 3 innings. Sunday it was on ESPN, and I was at work today for the fourth game. This one was, I think, Game 3. Yeah, I think this catch was Game 3. No, yeah, Game 3. Because last night, I don't know who the commentators were for ESPN, but Jung-Hoo Lee hits a ball that gets to the wall in left field, right?
Mm.
And Brandon Marsh is able to catch it and retire Lee. And do you know what these douchebags at ESPN say?
Well,
They say Jung-Hoo Lee is starting to learn that the outfielders in the MLB are better than in the KBO.
why are you making the comparison, bro?
Lee is an outfielder from the KBO, and he made an impossible catch yesterday. Like, what are you talking about? God, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for ESPN to lose their contract. I think they're just trying to do their best to like make MLB like cut it off even earlier than it's supposed to be, because I think ESPN's not coming back for 2025. So I don't know who the contract's going to go to. Hopefully not Apple. Hopefully not Amazon. Hopefully not a streaming service.
You can never be too sure these
It's
days.
probably going to be a streaming service.
Imagine if it's Peacock.
No, Peacock backed out for this year.
Dang.
They backed out, so no Peacock games this year.
Maybe they just want a bigger fish.
Maybe. So we'll see what happens with ESPN, but shame on them.
Shame on them.
All right, and we'll skip Combined Arms to this episode because we are going way too long.
We went.
Although this is a long stretch, I think, for both our teams, especially the Giants.
We had 2 4-game series, yeah.
All right, so for the Giants, for their schedule, here's what they're looking at: Colorado, Cincinnati, LA, Colorado are going to be the series that are talked about next episode.
All right, the Yankees got the Astros, the Rays, the Twins. We're going to finish it out with the White Sox.
Okay, I think out of those, I think the Twins are going to be give you guys the biggest problem.
Yeah, we're going to go on a nice stretch real quick.
Yeah, before the Twins humble you.
No.
With two, Cincinnati struggling, right?
De La Cruz is doing a lot. He's getting some highlights.
They're 16. They're 16-18. So they're
other than that, I wouldn't know.
But hopefully with those 2, was that 6 games in Colorado or 6 games against Colorado, 3 in Colorado, 3 in Oracle. I'm hoping that at least one sweep, and then at least one sweep. But I'll be okay with a 4 out of 6.
I'm hoping to sweep the White Sox, another team that's historically bad now this year.
I can see that.
Let's take 2 games from the Rays, and then you can do whatever with the Twins. Not whatever. I would prefer not a sweep, but maybe, I don't know, win a game, and if you want to give some people the day off, let's see what some bench players can do.
Okay, yeah, that would be interesting. All right, Liam, do you want people to find you online?
No.
Okay, well.
That's why I use today's sponsor. Insert name here VPN. Insert name here VPN keeps my private internet access safe.
That'd be a really good segue into an actual sponsor ad for VPN if we had one.
We will never get one.
Well, we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
See you guys later.
And hopefully the Giants are right back on the cusp of 500.
Woo-hoo.